Okay again. Right, just a quick update on what I'm doing with this van. Having all sorts of issues here. And I had an issue on the other side, and I was... I know the quarter panel, yeah, it wasn't right. It was sticking out, had like too much of a bulge in the centre. So that part was wrong, and it's not fitting the door up the top either. Yeah, it's different to the other side. The other side curves in here, whereas it just sticks out. So I've got to pull this in, like from there to there, as I've mentioned before. But yeah, getting the door high enough so this line matches up, because this line was crooked anyway. Yeah, which was someone else's previous panel beating. Yeah, so I was straightening it up. I found it easier to just cut it. Yeah, straighten the crease out, weld it back together. But because I said I changed the top on this to a Statesman with the pins for the mouldings, and I've put it down a little bit lower. I've dropped it probably 3 or 4 mil, because it was just too close up the top. And I said I was certain it was all to do with the quarter panel, but now I'm not so sure. So I'm having the same issue on the other side. I mean, this is a different door to what I had on it. And the driver's door that was on here was cactus. It was all rusted up in here. It was rusted down the front where the track goes. Yeah, as I said, and I wanted a Statesman door in it anyway, so power windows and stuff. But once again, I'm having an issue lining up this crease. This crease has to be the same. You know, if you got a crease that runs from headlight to tail light, it's got to be straight. There's no ifs or buts. It has to be a straight line, or it's just going to look stupid. It's just not going to work. But yeah, getting it. Yeah, I've raised it. When I get this line, with this crease lined up, and I get this one lined up at the top here. That's the two things I'm trying to line up. And I've got the same issue as the other side. I've got a huge gap on the bottom. Oh, that's not huge, but it's more than it should be. But what's an even worse issue is, it's basically touching at the top. I've still got to lift. The front of the door. You can see the angle, so I've got a big gap here and hardly any gap up here. So I've now got to lift the front of the door as well. I got to swap out these hinges too. I got quite a few hinges here from various ones, so I've got to find some with, hopefully, that don't have any pin wear, don't have any slack in it. Like this will, you can open the door, you can lift it up and down through the movement on the pins. So as I said, I've got a few different hinges, and if none of them are any good, I might have to actually look at buying some new hinges or repinning them or something, because I don't want that movement in it. But what I'm getting to, so when I'll lift the front up now, and I'll get this line straight and this line straight. It's going to be touching all the way along the top. So I'm basically going to have to do the same thing with this door. I'm going to have to cut it off and drop it down a few mil, just so I've got a gap at the top. Doesn't seem to be any other way around it, and I'm probably going to have to weld a bead right along the bottom of the door because the gap's too big. I mean, I could. Well, the other option you get, is add a few mil of putty on top of the silver. I don't particularly want to do that. That's not that great an idea, putty and edges like that, because they chip and crack, and not a great idea. It's easier to actually bring the bottom of the door down, or better. I wouldn't say easier, but better. So yeah, I'm having dilemmas here, and trying to figure out what's the best way to do it, best way to go about it. But yeah, as I said, this crease has to be straight. That's absolute necessity. In order for it to look good, it's got to have this crease straight, the whole way along. As I said, the whole, if I mentioned in other videos at the moment, the whole point of getting this door lined up at the moment is I've got to redo this patch. You see, I've cut it out again. I wasn't happy with that piece. As I said, I patched up rust holes that were in it, and made a mess of it. Didn't get it lined up with the door, wasn't happy with it, so cut it off. I'll remake that patch. I'll do it in 2 pieces too. I'll get this piece in first, this edge. I'll weld that in all the way around, and then I'll make another plate to fit on the top. You can see also, I mentioned before, about if you've got a rust hole here, you're going to have a bigger one underneath. Yeah, you can see that's the original timber. This is patched all in here. So, and there's an overlap here too. This is an original bit of panel, but I'm going to scrub the primer off that. I'm going to weld that overlap as well, so otherwise the water's going to get underneath there, and I'll end up with another hole in there eventually. But as I said, I had it on. I had the guard on. I had it all lined up, and then realised that I have to take it off again to cut this piece out. I wasn't able to get in there with the door and the guard on, so so I've got it off again. Anyway, so as I said, I'm still trying to figure out the best way about going to getting everything fitted. I'm actually starting to wonder whether the panel man had different doors, or whether, see, this is another thing, your panel bands and your utes, maybe even your wagons, still not sure about the wagons, but your panel bands and your utes, the actual body is HQ. It never got updated. The sedans got updated. And the main body part got changed a little bit. Apparently, where the bonnet fits up is different. HQ to HXZ, WB, but the utes and bands never got updated, and for that reason, if you want a full bumper on the back of a van or a ute, the only one that will fit is a HQ wagon, and they're terribly rare. You just can't get them. So I actually bought a HQ wagon cheap for the purpose of taking the bumper off. I was going to put a full bumper, and I got it home and cleaned it up, and it wasn't a bad car. And then I got it running, and I just couldn't bring myself to take the bumper off it, because it would have killed the car. It might never have gone again, because you can't buy a bumper. So I ended up cleaning up, resold it. Actually made a few bob on it, but I got a different idea. for the bumper anyway. And if I had the front end on, I could show you, but I don't. But I've got what you call bumperettes, 2 short pieces either end with a full grill on the front. And they're HZ, they've got the rubber risers on them. And yeah, so what I've decided to do is go the same style on the back. And yeah, I did this, this years ago I did this. And so I've got the original sedan bumper bracket. I modified it so that it all bolts onto where the original bumper things go. And I don't know why I cut the centre out of it. No idea. I don't know, maybe I used the panel for something else, thinking wasn't, because I originally wasn't going to use these bumpers. But yeah, because it was damaged, it didn't fit. I got it. It was supposedly a wagon bumper, but it wasn't. It was a sedan bumper. And I was going to do a full bumper, and then I changed it to the bumperettes. But yeah, in the same fashion as the front one, you basically need a whole bumper to make each bumperette, because you've got to use the end pieces. That end piece was cut off there, and yeah, this end piece I must have shortened it. I think I must have shortened it, cut something up. They said years ago when I did this, and I'm wondering why I've done what I've done. But yeah, I probably shortened it. It was probably longer. So that was the issue. That was the issue with the sedan bumpers. So for one, they stuck out too wide, and they were sort of out here somewhere. But they also went forward too far. They didn't fit within the bumper allowance you've got in the panel. But yeah, so I got to get myself another sedan bumper. But, yeah, this is basically what I'm going to have on there, is bumperettes that are basically the same size as the front one, the same style. They'll have the rubber overriders, HZ model, and yeah. But as I said, you need a full bumper for each half, so you basically got to have 2 bumpers to make these up, because you've got to cut these end pieces off. You can't have, I've seen square cut off ends on bumperettes, and they don't look good. You got to do it properly. Of course, by the time I'm finished too and clean it all up and grind it, and then I'll have to send it in to somebody, and do a bit more panel bit and a bit more filling, a bit more grinding, it'll probably cost me $100 for each one just to get it ready for chroming, and then there's another $300 or $400 each to get them chromed. So yeah, after I've made them up, they're still $1,000 away from looking good and being put on the car. The other thing too, I'm thinking, like, this is an actual WB van, but everything on it, the whole front end, bumpers, everything are all HZ. So I think I'm going to go with the HZ lights as well. They don't have they don't have a clear reversing light. The reversing light's actually in the indicator. So when you put it in reverse, you've got a light, but it's a yellow light. But yeah, I don't really care that much. I think I'm going to go for HZ. They just look better. They've got the chrome around them. So I'm going to have a lot of chrome on this eventually. So anyway, that's a bit of a enough of a ramble. So, yeah, and all of this, what I'm doing now, it all has to be done anyway, but the rush to get it all done now is just so I can paint this firewall. As I said, I got my engine in, I want to get my engine running, and yeah, I can't go putting anything else on the engine until I've painted it, because once the distributor's in and the carby and everything, you can't get in there to paint it properly. So yeah, that's what the rush is now, to get all this done. I've got to get all this finished so I can paint under here. Only because, you paint under here and then well on top of here, you can burn the paint off. So that's the whole of it. Well, having said that, I just thought I don't even need to paint all the way up here. Like just yet, I can finish the paint here, at this line here, and then repaint that later, the other bit. But anyway, it's come this far here, might as well do it in one go. So probably good to get as much time on that paint, or dry time on that paint, before I start assembling it. Yeah, we're doing a final assembly anyway, so I'm not scratching at all. The other thing I'm going to do is take a door off any H-model Holden, and you'll find it's rusted behind the hinge. And it never ever got paint on it from factory. They bolted the hinge on, and they must have a jig that tells them the exact right place that they need, but they bolt the hinges on and then paint it. And it's always rusty behind the hinges, so yeah, mine will all be getting painted, and I'm also going to put a paper gasket behind the hinges, both on the body and on the door, just so it doesn't rub the paint off. Of course, that will pack it out, a millimetre, but yeah, I'll also put, the same on here. I'll put a gasket in behind that. Just, I want to say gasket, probably a fibre washer or a rubber washer or something. We'll go in behind that. So, actually, I'll probably put a paper gasket up full the way down the thing, or rubber strip, stick it onto the guard itself. But yeah, I said I'm not going to be, I don't want it knocking paint off. So anyway, that's enough of a ramble. We'll leave it at that. And if anybody else has had this same dilemma on a panel van of doors and lines and things not lining up, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, thanks for watching, and give us a like, please. Bye.